What is good, y'all? Welcome back to Chris and Rock Productions. I am Chris. I hope you've had a happy Monday. So we're in a brand new week. Today is August 28th, 2023. I just wanted to get into some Marvel news, some rumors. The main focus is going to be on one topic, and that's pertaining to Avengers, King Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars. But before we get into some of the news and topics going on, I just want to say that today is the 3 year anniversary of the passing of the great Chadwick Boseman. We all know Chadwick Boseman. After his death, we found out that he battled cancer secretly. He was a very strong person, and he will be missed, and he's been missed the last 3 years. Um, I remember literally that day when I found out that he passed away. I just started tearing up. I got emotional, and yeah, it's just we're nerds and stuff, and we love these projects. And whenever someone passes, especially someone of the magnitude of Chadwick Boseman, it just hits hits hard. So of course, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. And let's go ahead and let's get into our Marvel news. Okay, so first I want to start off with a little bit of Andrew Garfield and his thoughts on returning for No Way Home. So we all know Andrew Garfield, was in TASM 1 in 2012 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 2014. And then ultimately they did the recast with Tom Holland for the MCU. So up and close against my wall. So yeah, I guess he released, the obviously people, interviewers, whoever are constantly asking him his thoughts on his return for No Way Home. And this is basically what he had to say. He said, there was an undeniable excitement at the concept of just the simple image of the three of us together. Obviously, he's talking about him, Toby, and Tom Holland. Um, so we all know that there was massive rumors going into No Way Home about it. We could see those three people, those three Spider-Man together. But whenever we saw it in theaters, it was just magic. It was the best cinema moment since, Endgame, since Cap picking up Monier, or since Tony's snap. And let's go more into what he had to say. It was exciting on so many levels. On a fan level, which I am, and on an actor level. Being able to work with Spider-Man, Toby, and then the brilliant Tom, then and on an even deeper level, well, what does that mean? What can we explore about these three brothers who are separated through time and space? And I think that's a great take from, that's a great way to look at it, especially if you're one of these three actors. Like, you're playing the same character. We've never seen, oh, I'm not saying we've never seen it. Like, we've seen Charles and young Charles on Days of Future Past, but like, they're from that same universe. This is obviously three different takes of a franchise over the years, and to see them three come together was wonderful. He went on to say, there is an essence of that character, Peter Parker, is so much about isolation and being a one-man army, especially in the origins of the story. Obviously, with Tom's iteration, joining in with the Avengers in a deeply reassuring thing is a deeply reassuring thing. But I think essentially he's a lone kid, and that's what makes him so compelling and relatable, because we all know that in somehow. And finally, he said, it was just suddenly mind boggling and incredibly healing and beautiful to think, what if you discovered you weren't in fact alone, and that someone was going through the exact same struggle that you felt like you were uniquely going through? That feeling like you're not alone in the universe is quite a powerful thing. And I think Andrew Garfield obviously summed it up perfectly about the character of Peter Parker. We've learned more about his character in No Way Home. How he said after excuse me, the death of Gwen, that he stopped pulling his punches. He went into a dark place. I don't know if he got the symbiote suit. We won't know. Hopefully, they do a TASM 3 with him. There's obviously been talks at Sony. I'm sure they've had talks with him to return, as well as Toby. Um, but he played Peter Parker in a way of like he was in a dark place, because we just witnessed Tom Holland Spider-Man lose his Aunt May, and he's still processing her death. And we see, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, who's been processing it for years, and what that did to him as a man, as a person, just as Spider-Man. So I think Andrew Garfield, absolutely encapsulated where we left off with his Spider-Man and how it had affected him, the events that he's gone through. I would love to see Andrew Garfield come back as Spider-Man. I think his story deserves another take, another look, and just a third one. I really enjoy the first one. Second one, not so much. I do have issues with it. So like a lot of people do as well. But it's starting to hit that nostalgia aspect. Where we're at 2023, 2024, 10 years since TASM 2 is going to be next year. I'm sure if they do develop another Spider-Man movie with him, it won't come out for like another 2, 3 years from now. If they do that, I don't see why they wouldn't. Honestly, I would develop another movie with him. He seems like he's on board to do a get. He on board to do another movie. He came back, for a reason, obviously the money. But I'm sure he has a lot to say about this character. Let me move away from this wall. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and get into this. Is the main topic that it's going to take up. This is basically the rest of the video right here. So this is obviously just a rumor. So this has not been confirmed by any major outlets like Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline. But this rumor has been going on for a while, and it's actually been reported on a leaker who I follow named Jeff Snyder. Um, and he did this months ago about there was rumors that they're getting a new writer. So this is Jeff Loveness, the writer of Quantumania, and Michael Waldron, the writer of Loki, and he also did, I believe, the Multiverse of Madness, are reportedly no longer working on Avengers King Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars, respectively. So what does this mean? The Jeff Loveness stuff came, this rumor's been going around for the longest, that he was removed from the project from I think he was writing. I don't know what. I think he was writing King Dynasty. Yeah, and then Michael Waldron was writing Secret Wars. Yeah. Jeff Loveness. He has some stuff with the Jimmy Kimmel Show, as well as Rick and Morty, and then he did Quantumania. If you saw our review for Quantumania, I absolutely at the time I don't like the movie. It's I think second or third my MCU rankings at the last second or third to last. We did do a rewatch recently a few weeks ago, and I still not a big fan of it. I do enjoy the action scenes that happen with Scott Lang, but the overall writing I think was just super lackluster. So when I found out that he was going to be writing King Dynasty, I'm not gonna lie, I got nervous. I really did because you're gonna have this Avengers movie, King Dynasty, which comes out, I believe, in 2026. So it's gonna be the first Avengers movie in what 7 years, and they're obviously they're trying to do this cosmic multiverse build up, and I don't know. I just personally didn't think he's the right guy for that movie. Um, like I mentioned, he has history with like Rick and Morty, so Quantumania fit more of his writing style. And even then, I had issues with it. But I'm not saying he's a terrible writer. No, I'm not saying that. There's a reason why he was offered the script, or he was offered the writing role for King Dynasty. Um, but I think it's for the best if they were just to go on to a different writer. Because like I said, personally, I didn't enjoy Quantumania. And then from Michael Waldron, kind of the same situation. It says he wrote Loki. And in Loki, I have my highs and ups. I am super excited for season 2, but he also wrote the Multiverse of Madness. Multiverse of Madness is in my bottom 5. So Quantumania and the Multiverse of Madness are both in my bottom 5. Um, I don't hate Multiverse of Madness as much as I don't really like Quantumania. Um, I just think the way that Wander was written as just you know the whole continuity thing with WandaVision, I think, was the big issue for a lot of people as well as myself. I've seen WandaVision like 3 or 4 times when we saw it when it came out weekly back in 2021. But I like to look at it from a different person's perspective on how just the storyline was just dropped. Oops, someone fell. Mr. Fantastic fell. He's fine. um just dropped in the middle of the story about her kids and stuff, and it just the continuity wise, it just didn't make sense for people who probably have never even seen or heard of WandaVision. And I just had other issues in terms of the way that the conclusion of the story. I don't. It was just. I think what it was. It wasn't even more so the script. It was just more so the directing of it. And I love Sam Raimi, and I'm gonna get into Sam Raimi in a little bit. We're gonna get into some other directors. But yeah, multiverse of madness just didn't do it for me. And apparently, he was also removed from Secret Wars. So if that's the case, then we'll see what happens. But speaking of Sam Raimi and some other directors, I want to get into five possible writers and directors who could take over for Quantumania and Secret Wars. So first one that comes to mind is Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler, obviously, the writer and director for Black Panther and then Black Panther Wakanda Forever. He also did a bunch of other projects. He done Creed, Creed 1, 2. I think he didn't direct 3 because I know Michael B. Jordan directed 3. But he did 1 and 2. And yeah, Ryan Coogler, I think he's already obviously an in-house. So every director I'm gonna mention is an in-house director. They've already done MCU movies. Um, Ryan Coogler, I think he's easily one of the best MCU directors out there right now. The Wakanda Forever, um, there was some issues in terms of like character wise, but he obviously, like mentioned earlier, the death of Chadwick Boseman, he had to rewrite that whole script super late. They had to go into a film losing their main star. And so there was just so much going on with that film. So it's kind of hard to critique that one to a degree because of the circumstances that they faced. But in terms of Ryan Coogler, I think he's just a wonderful director, and he knows how to direct drama. He knows how to direct dialogue, and in terms of like just two characters conversating and just the impact of a conversation, he knows how to get that presented through the screen. So I think if you were to have him to come in and write Secret Wars or King Dynasty, one of the two, I don't think they'll, since it's two massive Avengers movies, they have the Russo brothers do Infinity War and Endgame. I don't think they'll have one director do both films because that's just too much to ask for. That's a lot. Not saying that he can't do it or any of the other directors I'm gonna mention can't do it, but it's just a tall task just to have one director take on your two Avengers films that release within a year from each other or 2 years from each other, give or take. But yeah, I would definitely bring on Ryan Coogler. The next one I would have on is the first MCU director, and that is Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau, obviously, right now he is tied in with Star Wars, and I think he's going to stay at Star Wars. This is five directors who I would love to come on and direct these movies. So whenever Jeff Snyder, talked about or mentioned the rumors of Jeff Loveness being removed from King Dynasty, he threw out some of these directors. It was a few months ago. Um, and I just they've been in the back of my mind whenever I think of King Dynasty and Secret Wars about how these directors can really take on that story. Jon Favreau, obviously a veteran director, he's done the MCU Iron Man movies, as well as Mandalorian and Lion King, which was a box office success, Swingers and Chef and all that. Mandalorian season 1 and 2 were phenomenal. Season 3 I didn't finish. Just being honest, I couldn't get through it. um, but yeah, John Favreau, he's a veteran. He's at Disney right now at Lucasfilm. Just the only issue is that he's at Lucasfilm. I don't. He has so much going on for the next 5 to 10 years at Star Wars at Lucasfilm. I don't think he would want to leave the house that he's at over there and go back into Marvel and work on those Avengers movies that they only have. He only has a few years to write and direct. um, so John Favreau of the five is the longest shot of them because of how much he has going on at Star Wars. But I do want to mention him because he's a phenomenal director, and I think he would, if he were to come on, he would knock it out of the park. This one actually gets me excited. Of the five, this next one is the one I'm like, yes, have him direct it. Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi. And look, it even has him as the writer of King Dynasty. Actually, I think he is officially writing King Dynasty. Let me see. King Dynasty. King Dynasty to direct. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, what am I talking about? Yeah, Destin Daniel Cretton, he's directing King Dynasty. Oh, okay. So I'm talking about just the writers. Yeah, I think if he's gonna be writing, I think he would definitely, help. If he's gonna be directing, he would definitely help write it. Um, yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah, he's gonna direct King Dynasty, and oh yeah, that was a while ago. It just slipped my mind. And when I saw King Dynasty, I was like, oh, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, but anyways, he's already doing one of these. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and move on from him. I absolutely love Shang-Chi. It's my top three favorite MCU projects since Endgame. I think the Shang-Chi is probably one of the best origin stories in the MCU, and yeah, I just love that movie. I love Shang-Chi on a different level. All right, next, this is the most veteran director, and this is Mr. Sam Raimi. Like I mentioned earlier, I wasn't a big fan of the Multiverse of Madness, and I think it was more so because of it felt a little dated, and it had to do with a bit of his directing style. And let me just go ahead and put this out there. I absolutely love Sam Raimi as a director. The Evil Dead franchise has a special place in my heart. I absolutely adore that franchise. I love the show. I love Evil Dead Rise. I just love that show. I mean that movie. I just love the franchise, and he is the creator of that, and that's his stuff. Multiverse of Madness. I really did love the horror element that he brought with the Wanda and the way she took apart the Illuminati, and just things like that. And obviously, he did the Raimi trilogy, Spider-Man trilogy, which is arguably one of the best trilogies, superhero trilogies ever made. I'm stumbling over my words. Um, but he is such a veteran director. I think Kevin Feige would easily trust him to take on, one of the Avengers projects, Secret Wars at least. Well, of course, Secret Wars because Destin is doing King Dynasty, and have him come in and write and direct the movie. I would be more so excited for him to write the movie because I think he knows how to write a character who is damaged from within. I really enjoyed his take on Spider-Man, on his Toby Spider-Man, the way he wrote him. So I would definitely bring on Sam Raimi to either write or direct Secret Wars, or to write either one of those. And the last one is John Watts. John Watts, fresh off of the Spider-Man Home trilogy, Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. And right now he has a new Star Wars show coming out. Let me get the name of it. Not the Acolyte. What was it called? Star Wars Coming of Age Skeleton Crew. Okay, yeah, they showed footage at Celebration earlier this year. But yeah, John Watts. Um, since he has Skeleton Crew coming out, I think he's already pretty much done with it. Then they finished filming before the strike happened, if I'm not mistaken. Um, he was set to direct Fantastic Four, and his name was on it for the longest, like officially from Kevin Feige. John Watts is gonna, direct Fantastic Four, but he left Fantastic Four to go and do Skeleton Crew for Star Wars. Um, and you would think, oh, that probably ticked off Kevin Feige. I don't believe so, because John Watts is still in house at Disney. He's right there, accessible for Kevin Feige if he wants him to come on and direct Secret Wars or write either of those scripts. Um, Homecoming is my favorite live action Spider-Man movie. I know a lot of people are like, "What? What about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, or what about No Way Home?" Both of them are phenomenal. Spider-Man 2 has a nostalgic, place in my heart, and No Way Home obviously was amazing. But Homecoming, I think, is the most, adequate page dropping off the page Spider-Man from the comics right onto the big screen, and I think he captured that. Um, so I guess, yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, no, there's one more thing I wanted to mention, just real quick. Yeah, the MCU. They're dropping a Marvel Studios, the cinematic universe, and official timeline. Yeah, they announced this, I think, officially today. Yeah. And yeah, they have been talking about this for a while. and I'm definitely gonna pick this up. I'm ordered through Amazon. I think it's like 45 on Amazon, 50 on other websites. It's basically just a book, a detailed book about the beginning of the MCU all the way up until we are currently at right now. And I'm sure it's gonna start off with Eternals thousands of years ago and things like that, and it's gonna work its way up all the way up until where we're gonna be at continuity wise, the Marvels or Loki, one of the two. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give this. I just want to talk about this because I will definitely be ordering this because it looks really fun. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. As always, I'm Chris. I will catch you next time. Peace.